Fresh cow's milk from certified dairy farmers with 130 years experience. We produce over 1.3 billion liters annually. We work with quality standards that far exceed statutory requirements. Our milk is not made from milk solids. Ammerlander. Real milk, pure and natural. Available at stores nationwide.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hello and welcome. Need for this land to be rid of these persons who betray the trust of the people. And now we get to the top stories we are tracking. Approval for Payara, PPPC government doing its utmost to keep Guyana as a banana republic, says Dr. Yan Mangal, a country which has no self-respect and accepts crumbs for its crown jewels. Meanwhile, NRGI says more oversight needed for all companies, suppliers due to high incidents of corruption. And Minister Edul says the $150 million CJIA expansion, 4% additional funding will get more value. Meanwhile, youth population mostly affected by 42% increase in road deaths, and President Ali says conditions of frontline workers being exploited. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Children are at an increased risk of sexual abuse, and the perpetrator can be nearer than you think. So stay alert and be aware. Be aware of your neighbors. Be aware of your friends. Be aware of the people you have in your home. Do not become complacent. Protect children now. You can make a report to the police or call the CPA hotline on 227-0979.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
And now for the news in detail. Upon noting the fact that the PPPC is just mere days away from signing off on ExxonMobil's third well project in the Stabroek Block called Payara, international petroleum consultant Dr. Yan Mangal posits that one can clearly conclude that the current regime is executing actions that will leave Guyana as a banana republic. Dr. Mangal said that he is thoroughly disappointed to see Guyanese politicians continue to sell out the nation. He said that Guyana always should have been the beacon for the Caribbean. Further to this, the former presidential advisor noted that most Guyanese politicians seem either self-interested, completely mediocre, or a dangerous combination of both. while adding that Vice President Dr. Barras Jagdeo and his party seems to be doing their utmost to keep Guyana a banana republic, a country which has no self-respect and accepts crumbs for its crown jewels. But Guyanese voters are ultimately to blame for perpetuating this sad state for decades, as they will be the ones to continue to suffer, he added. And moving on, corruption is endemic in the petroleum sector, not just among license or rights holders, but among their partnering subcontractors and suppliers. That's why the Natural Resource Governance Institute is encouraging more oversight for these companies in its 2020 report titled Beneath the Surface, the Case for Oversight of Extractive Industry Suppliers. It stated that between 2008 and 2017, oil and gas and mining companies spent an average of just under $1 trillion a year. Set to remain one of the major financial flows from extractive industry projects, the Institute pointed to corruption risks in the operations of suppliers, including bribery, favoritism, and state capture. An analysis done by NRGI found that suppliers played significant roles in extractive industry corruption scandals and foreign bribery cases in at least 29 countries across 5 continents. In other news, $6.5 million or 4% of the $150 million Chadi Jagan International Airport expansion will see the project getting more value for money in executing additional works on what's supposed to be the regional transit hub. This is according to Minister of Public Works Juan Edgell. Edgell had reported that an assessment of the airport and revised contract revealed that there has been a significant reduction in scope of works from that in the original $138 million contract signed before May 2015. Notwithstanding the conflicting stories of which administration reduced the scope of work, Edgell indicated that the remaining 4,954 square meters would be constructed through the allocation of $6.5 million. And moving on, the increase in road fatalities this year has mostly affected our youth population. For the period January 1st, 2020 to September 25th, 2020, Guyana recorded a 42% increase in deaths from a 37% increase in road fatalities when compared to 2019, with 103 fatal accidents, which resulted in the death of 112 persons. This is according to the Guyana Police Force Traffic Department statistics. The GPF traffic statistics show that road fatalities are more prevalent with motorcyclists between ages 17 to 24, and the highest age range of persons involved in fatal accidents are between 25 to 42 years old. Road traffic accidents and deaths are a major concern to the GPF, and the increase in the number of young persons killed in road accidents not only affects individuals but also the communities and the country at large. And moving on, when asked to comment on the recent protests conducted by frontline workers for improved wages, risk allowances, and better protective gear, President Irfan Ali said that he believes that the circumstances of those frontline workers are being exploited. Ali said issues that the nurses and doctors raised were under active consideration. He went on to say, however, that there are actors who are exploiting the circumstances of those health workers. The president was keen to highlight that the $150 million, that should be $150 million, that has been budgeted for frontline workers, as he has emphasized that the government is committed to improving the lives of all workers. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and this is your News at Noon. Coming up after the break, government awards contract for permanent works at Maikoni Sea Defense, all breaches sealed. Meanwhile, bandits abandon motorcycle after shooting businessman in neck, and Guyana to get additional funding for COVID-19 from the Global Fund. Meanwhile, COVID-19 relief cash grant distribution begins in Region 1 and 9, and Esau and Jacob community Maikoni gets potable water for the first time. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. Government has completed the remedial works to the more than 100 meters of breached sea defense at Content, Maikoni, and has reportedly already awarded contracts to commence permanent fixtures to enhance the structural integrity of the sea defense. Public Works Minister Juan Edgil said that 4 contractors, Tulsi Prasad Limited, Colin Talbot Contracting, ANS General Contractors, and M&B Construction, were handed the contract and are expected to commence work soon. Initially, it was Brian Tiwari's BK International who was awarded a $352 million contract by the previous APNU-AFC government to seal more than 500 meters of breached sea defense that resulted in massive flooding. However, a notable slow pace at which the works moved and the constant delays allowed more damage to that area. In other news, 2 armed bandits were yesterday forced to run and leave their XR Honda motorcycle behind following a shootout with the businessman they shot in the neck. Hospitalized and nursing a gunshot wound to the neck is Floyd Dewsbury of Roxanne Burnham Gardens in Georgetown. The shooting incident and what is being described as a botched robbery took place sometime after 9 hours at the businessman's residence. According to reports, Dewsbury was outside of his yard when bandits rode up on the motorcycle. The pillion rider reportedly jumped off and approached the businessman, said a few words before whipping out a handgun and is charging a few rounds at the businessman, who was also armed. Police were called and the man was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital for treatment. In other news, in keeping with its mandate to deliver potable water to unserved communities, GWI has delivered an additional 15 households within Esau and Jacob District in Maikoni, Region 5, access to potable water for the first time. The decision to connect the households followed complaints from several residents in the area about no access to potable water to minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez. Minister Rodriguez had asked for an assessment to be done before a decision was taken to connect the residents, the CHNPA said in a statement. The statement outlined that once a source to supply these households with potable water was found, works in the area commenced immediately. And now for your COVID-19 update. 2 more COVID-19 related deaths, more than 1,000 in isolation. The Ministry of Health has recorded another 2 deaths of persons who were infected with COVID-19, taking the total number of deaths from the pandemic to 78. According to the Health Ministry, the latest fatalities are 2 Region 4 women, a 45-year-old and a 55-year-old. While the 2 new deaths were not reflected in the updated COVID-19 dashboard released yesterday, the Health Ministry noted that Guyana has recorded 47 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the overall known cases to 2,772. According to the Health Ministry, 12 persons in the COVID-19 ICU, while 890 persons are in home isolations, and 230 are in institutional isolation, which makes the total number of isolated persons 1,120. The government of Guyana is expected to benefit from the sum of $357,894 in additional financial assistance as part of the Global Fund's COVID-19 response mechanism. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said that these funds will go toward further boosting the Ministry of Health's ongoing COVID-19 emergency response. Following the passing of the 2020 national budget, it has been announced by President Irfan Ali that cash grants are now being dispersed to residents of Regions 1 and 9. The President said that a team of officials have been dispatched to the areas and distribution was set to commence over the weekend. He also stated that it may take the team a total of 6 days to distribute the vouchers, and when that is completed, distributions to other regions will follow. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Kaieteur Radio Livestream. Oh, also catch our stream at www.kaieteurnewsonline.com/radio. Want value for